Hello, hello, hello. Let me check if I'm live. Not yet. Yeah. I'll be needing a few moments. And channel. Why is it not getting displayed that I am live? Now it is. Perfect. We can start. So the aim for this video is there were a few things left in the last stream where we are revising the project that we have worked upon, the capstone project, which was under Accenture stream training. So the Pizzeria was the name of the app, is the name of the app as the thumbnail goes. And I guess only the cart component was left. So in this video, we are going to discuss the functionalities of the cart, add things inside the service that we have created, and we are going to then revise the whole project very quickly. So let's dive right into doing things. Ooh. So let's see what was exactly left. I kind of don't remember it. It has been 2 days, I guess, since we have last streamed. So the cart page was left, done. And what apart from cart page? Increase quantity. Okay, so in the cart page we have a few functionalities which include increase quantity and decrease quantity button. So increase quantity we covered, decrease quantity is yet to be covered, and there are all sorts of calculations happening on that page, cart page. So what we ideally do in this stream series of when I am revisiting and revising my project, I usually actively recall what I have built inside the project, and I do the raw things over here, and then we go and fill the gaps, whatever I actively recall. And if there are a few things that I am unable to recall, then we take things from there and start to fill the gaps. Okay, the shopping cart page is divided into basically two sections: my cart and this left section and the right section. And in the left section we have the list of pizzas, and here are two calculations. First of all, we cannot do a negative quantity. If we do a negative quantity, even if we hit 0, it gets removed from the list. It only appears until and only when the item is in positive count. So when I press plus over here, the price increases over here and here and here. As of now, we don't have any ingredients, but if we add ingredients and see it now, we have separate UI for showing the amount of ingredients or the custom pizza. So first of all, we'll revise the increase button as we have already covered, and then we'll do the negative button, that is the decrease quantity button, and then we'll see what are we getting over here and how are we doing this. Ideally, or as I can remember from a function, no, it is a real time thing. We are not writing any function, we are just calling the quantity and seeing what the quantity is, and according to that we are just multiplying it with the price. So two things getting called real time. So signals basically, right? Custom pizza, da, 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 da. Same thing over here. If we increase the quantity, it becomes 160. So everything, so the quantity into this price is what actually does the deed. Ingredients. Oh, okay. So this is basically where I am getting this. So I'm actually showing the price of custom pizzas, right? Essentially. So yes, price of custom pizza affects this. And then this delete button, this subtotal, this calculates everything that you have inside the list, inside the cart. So most probably a computed uh, function is running inside for subtotal, and then the total is actually the subtotal, so we are not doing things differently. What is over here is actually getting shown over here. And then these two buttons, play and pay and clear. So clear clears everything, and pay also clears everything, but with a few more functionalities, showing a message basically. Yep. I might gasp a little bit more than an average person because I have some breathing problem. Okay. On to the code editor, and you will be able to see my code editor in just a few moments. Yeah. I remember seeing this codes or similar type of React codes, React project rather, when I was in my first year of my seniors, and I used to get this feeling, oh my god, will I be ever able to understand all these complexities, these intricacies, these terminologies? 4 years down the line, I am doing exactly what I saw they used to do. So what should we build first? this cart page. Let us understand how increased quantity worked. So increased quantity, ideally we were sending the ID, and the ID was, I remember, a string, type string. So const, you need to update the array. No, this is not helping. I need to actually manually do the thing. So let's see our code. We are over here. As soon as I click the plus button, where is it? I trigger a function which is local to my components logic. Hello. Mm-mm. How do you assign them? Oops. Oops. Like this? Because it is a property, right? So like this, yes. Never used, never read, right? It is declared but never read. So when this happens, you ultimately get an updated item. Then you have to, then this is null and void until you use this. Now this dot items signal, inside item signal you do what? You just assign this, right? Update, which is the format, and you updated how? Just by passing this now. Mm. Mm. Mm, 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 mm. How do you update it? Damn, son. So you're directly doing the thing. Why haven't I thought of it? Let me ask an expert. Or if we remove this, cart item is what, an array? No, I don't think so. This is such a blunder. When I've used update, then I'm directly editing things over here. How can I write this? This doesn't make any sense. My thing would have been correct if I would not have used this update, and I would have accessed things over here, and then this would be, then this is an array, so this will also be an array. I remove this. Cart item. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Now what is wrong? Card item, card item. This must be honest. Now this is right. Now this is equivalent to this, but this is better way and a short way of writing this. So nice, we have thought about it. Damn. Now what? The decrease quantity function, right? Similarly, now we'll write the thing where over here. Inside the decrease quantity function over here, we are doing nothing. We are again going to pass the id, and then when we pass the id, we want this to get run car dot dc, whatever the function there written is. So we pass the id over here. Now inside the cart, inside the service, sorry, we have done what? This is done. Now comes the, so we'll take id, then we'll open parenthesis. We'll not open parenthesis, so over here. Actually, I'm having some breathing problems, so I'll refrain speaking. Rather, I'll type. Oops, I'm writing the code over here. Okay, no, I'm writing the elimination code only. Then Let's see. And I think that only this is going to, I want to see what's over here after this question mark and before the colon. Mhm. Well, it is good that I have developed the logic, but this is a better logic using filter. This is advanced. This is an advanced thing. Actually, this is not an advanced thing, but this shows that you have the acumen to use the functions. And what I just did is absolutely correct, but it doesn't show the acumen. It shows that okay, you are learning and you are able to do things. But this, by using filter, how accurate is this? Whatever we are getting over here, so we don't have to put any if else. What you rather do is you put filter, and whosoever quantity is greater than 0, only those elements are going to be included inside the array of objects that we are going to create. So only if filter does what? So if filter items, only if the item quantity is greater than 0, then you are going to have the thing, otherwise not. So this is lovely. This usage is definitely absolutely wonderful. Otherwise, and we'll ask that what the thing that we have written, whether it is correct or not. It is actually correct, I know it for sure. I just need to check what needs to be done over here. So this approach is definitely wrong. So you don't write like this, you don't have to see the code. uh, Actually, filter is the only best solution for this. While this covers things very well for this, if the quantity is greater than 1, but it doesn't handle things well. Okay, so we have filled the gap, and I assume that there is no if else needed. We'll remove this if. We'll just put a filter at the end. We'll decrease the quantity no matter what. Done. So we are done with the decrease quantity code. Very well. Now what is remaining? Subtotal. Okay, we'll see for ourselves. Now what is remaining? I must write what all things are there inside cart. First of all, increase, decrease, inc, dec, done, and then price into qty, right? I think we don't have to create a function for this. We'll do it. We'll do it live. We'll do it right in the template. Subtotal or grand total, and then only the trick part is ingredients total, right? The grand total is getting shared, right? The subtotal or the grand total, I have used subtotal, so let's write subtotal. So let's see for this price into quantity, since we have dealt with the changing quantities as per the clicks on the button. Let's see how we handle this. I suppose inside this template file, inside this template, wherever there is item into quantity, right? Or rather, yes, or price into qty. How do we do that? So we have the quantity, we have the price when we injected the service. So we have that. So for that we'll simply write this cart, whatever, no, item, what we are looping, and then price, and then star asterisk, and then item dot executive. Let's check. I hope my screen was visible. Oh damn, this is the problem. This was what I was writing. Where was it? Yes, this line is what I wrote. I'm not seeing the VS Code. So let's check if in the template we are doing exactly this what we are saying. So we'll open the template, then item price, item quantity, right? This will happen live. Leave. Now okay, I'll not see this. Let's just, oh my god, I have a spectator. Someone is saying, I've just opened my OBS. Hello, thank you for joining. Blunder, yo. No, I never said this. I said I have a spectator. Thank you for joining my stream. Your presence highly motivates me to work better on the code, to do things more earnestly. MB, I heard it. No problem. You heard the right thing. So when we fetch the, oh sorry, where were we? Okay, so this was correct. Now what? Now there are few things that need to be put. Okay, my pleasure. So now there are a few things. So grand total, as we talked about. So let's discuss the thing about how do we do the subtotal, right? How do we do the subtotal? So definitely computed is going to get used, and inside this TS file we are going to write and where is the subtotal function going to be? See, this is the thing that I've learned over time, that you first have to ask this question to yourself when you are working with Angular projects, that whether the function that you're going to call belongs to which file would be more appropriate to keep that function, the service or the component. So I'm actually so the function subtotal actually computes on the signal that we originally created, right? Which is the item signal. I'll show you where the item signal is. This is the item signal. This is the item signal, and that compute function works over. That. So the function subtotal is actually working on item signal. So definitely it must be kept within service, right? The service that we have created. So how will that work? Let me write the code right here. So I have what do we want to work at? Subtotal, and we want to call the subtotal as a quantity. So we'll create subtotal like a simple variable, but it will hold a quantity, and we can work because it is going to be a computed signal, right? So computed is going to 100% going to be there, because whenever anything changes inside the signal, we want subtotal to get changed or updated or show the things live. So computed is going to do its part. I'm just writing this computed code on Vim. I kind of forgot the syntax, but I'll try writing it anyways. So in computed, what do you want to compute? We want to go, we want to have a quantity, and that quantity will be saved inside subtotal. So reduce helps us do that, right? Reduce helps us do that. So, and reduce works on the function this dot item signal dot reduce. Nope. So definitely we have to write the parenthesis, and now reduce will come. Reduce is there. What reduces? It goes on each item, but it ultimately eventually returns only one value, which is what we are going to store inside subtotal. So reduce, inside reduce, what we are going to have, we have all the item. Let's suppose item 1, and then we write the complete array function. Inside reduce, what do we want? Every item we are going, and we want to do what? Okay, reduce has this item and something, right? Sum. And then you have to write the initial value of sum, which is 0. And then what, where do we want to go? We want to go in each item, and we want to have its what quantity. Why is it not showing the thing? Okay, so sum is equals to, I guess, sum is equals to sum plus so I have, this is the correct thing, but I guess I am getting confused just with a slight syntax, and this is what we are actually doing. We are recalling things, and I'll see the code. I'll rather bring this code. I'll copy this line, and I'll put it close to my subtotal function. Let's see. Okay, so there needs to be something that gets returned, right? No, there is no read to write return when I am not using braces. There are rules for rules. Okay, so my bad. So the sum, I knew this at the time I was writing that whether we have to write sum over here or here. So let's see. Item that we have, item over here, then we just have to write what? Sum plus. Well, while this is also correct, but a nicer way would be to write sum plus the quantity into the price. This is the initial value, right? So sum plus this, right? This is exactly my subtotal function. Let's comment this. Now, okay, so let's close this and now check what is left. So the subtotal is also done. Now what is left? Okay, so there are a few things that I have not written over here. So that is clear function, and that is, rather I'll write pay function first and then the clear function, right? Now this is the trickiest thing, because nobody would have guessed how this could have been done. Only the person who wrote the code, because it is not a very appropriate or the most ideal way how we have calculated the ingredients total. So this pushes us back to look our interface. Let me show you my interface real quickly. How are we only going to calculate the total of ingredients? And why do we have to do that? Leave that was given in the wireframe, so I am following that. That's why. So let's go to our models, and then the ingredients or cart model, right? Because we are working on the cart. So the cart is these are the few things that must be inside every element of the type cart item, right? So type, it can be assigned, it cannot be, right? Question mark, what does question mark do? Is what is the question mark doing over here? It is saying whether you keep it null or whether you put these two quantities, it is all right. It can be null, but none of these properties can be null. These cannot be null because I haven't put a question mark over here. Similarly, pizza id can be null and cart id cannot be. So cart id is getting generated, all these things are getting assigned, but type, for every custom pizza that we are creating, we don't have veg or non-veg. We don't have veg or non-veg written. That was initially discussed in the stream 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you. So that was initially discussed, right? We have to utilize this very thing. We don't have to create a function for this. We don't have to do anything inside the components.ts file. The only thing where we have to work is, and actually use a directive. It's called a directive, right? At the rate if, yes, it's called a directive, I suppose. We have to utilize that. So in every item, I'll write the code over here inside the shopping cart to show this. No, we need to write the function ingredients total. My bad. We need to write that. This is utilized where? This is utilized to show the veg non-veg image. Not over here, my bad. Well, this is coding. You think of something, then you actually think about it, and then you see if it's practical or not, and then you improvise and improve while improvising. What you do improvising is improve. So there needs to be a function inside what service that can be named ingredients total, ingredients total, and inside ingredients total we are not passing anything. We are seeing, we'll use reduce again, and ingredients total is also going to be a computed signal, right? So computed over here also, and inside computed you write this, you write this, and inside this you write this dot item signal, because you have to work with complete thing inside dot. We must write it inside this file only. We'll not see the function, but we'll write it, right? We'll write it over here. First we'll filter and then we'll reduce, according to me. What was the syntax for this? I suppose this. No. So here we actually want something boolean, right? How do we get boolean? Do you write item dot type? Well, we can write not double equals to veg or non-veg. This will work, I suppose. we have to see, and then we do reduce, and then we compute everything similarly like this. And similarly, the reduce function is going to be the same. Let's see. Okay, according to me, I have done this. Let's put the code right. Total item or ingredients cost, where is it? Blimey, we haven't created any function. And ingredients total, because the question is ingredients total is not something that needs to be put here. So one thing to note, that ingredients function must be inside the components ts file, so we'll open that. And the reason being that, see, we will most definitely have that function. See, custom pizza subtotal, we are having this function over here, and the reason behind it is that it is only required over here, and this will not be required anywhere else, and this is getting computed basis this cart which is getting injected, and you can do that right over here without writing the whole thing over there. So pizza subtotal is what we have. Pizza subtotal can also be written here. Actually, this is some advanced shit. So no, I get it completely. So what we are doing over here, we are just calling the items. These are read only, and we are computing on that. And we have not used computed also. These are functions, dude. They are returning a value. Damn, we have done the right thing, and I have asked the correct question. And why do I say that? Let me tell you. Why do I say that? What was the logic that I gave you? Why do we write things inside the cart and why do we write things inside the components logic? The logic is when there is something that is attached to the service, we must ideally do that inside the service. Either we create a computed signal property, or whether we can create a function and that function can be called by any component which is injecting the service. Now, why I was creating the functions in the cart? Because I knew that these things need computed. I was very sure, but I was shook when I saw that none of the code that for these three properties, uh, subtotal and uh, ingredients total, is not written inside the cart. I mean, just let's take example because subtotal is actually written over here. So the total pizza and the total ingredients is not written inside this service, and these are written over here. Whenever, so there is a one more question that I need to ask myself. I'll clear that. Okay. Now the slight, now the short yet big doubt that I had is now cleared. So I'll make it short and quick, and I'll help you understand and as well as myself. that why I was initially writing functions inside the cart service and why I was shocked seeing the functions not being written there. And these were all the things that I wrote. But now that I'm relooking and ruminating on the things, that I realized that this must not be the case. Pizza subtotal and grand subtotal ideally and custom pizza subtotal must ideally be written inside cart.service as I thought. This is the correct way. And these functions are working only because they are getting called again and again. Why are they getting called again and again? Because there is a trigger. I was assuming that once these functions are getting called, there must be a constant value that needs to be shown every time, even when there is an update. But there is one thing to remember, and it is very subtle. Every time when I click, every time when this dot cart gets called, every time when a click or a change happens, the DOM, the entire DOM of that specific component gets re-rendered. This is one thing to note. On every change or a trigger, that is ultimately a trigger, on every trigger, the DOM gets re-rendered, and on that re-rendering, all the functions are getting called, and that is why. And my functions have what are actually using a live signal. So this dot card dot subtotal, they are using a live signal, right? So thus the updated values are coming here. Now if I work at scale, at an industry based project, this is not the most right solution. The most optimal solution is to actually to use a computed property, a computed signal. Why do I say that? Because no matter if there is a change or not, every time that DOM re-renders, the functions are going to get called. Imagine there are thousands of people using thousands of functions, and every time there is a change, these 1,000 functions are getting called. That is not viable. What's while on the other hand, dot computed property is in itself very smart. It detects any changes, and then only it gets fleshed. So if I work at scale, the solution that I was producing at the moment is the most optimal, not the one that I have actually written. But for an application of this scale, actually it's a very tiny project, so of this scale there is no need of hyper optimization, while things can work almost at the same pace, and these function writings won't affect much. So good job. Now there are two things remaining. So custom pizza is what we have calculated. Let's look at the code of custom pizza now that we have talked so much. Custom pizza code is dot reduce, and then we say if the object dot type exists, then do sum, otherwise just keep sum, right? And then grand total is adding these two functions, all right? And pizza subtotal is what? Object type if exists, if not exist over here, if exists over here. So superb. And then we are left with pay card and all clear. Let's right away look at it. I don't want to write these functions again because these are, wow, no, actually I need to write this. Leave. I'll write that. No worries. I'll minimize this screen. And ingredients total is done, subtotal is done. Now pay is left, all and clear is left. What happens in pay? What happens in pay? What happens when we pay? These two are functions. Yay! But why yay? The reason for this yay? In the pay function, just know that these two functions are getting triggered on the click, right? So we are using event binding, that is click, and click then triggers these functions. These functions are actually, now this is something that really needs to be checked. Now we have to change the root. Now this time these functions need to be inside the service, otherwise I'll literally be mad, because all my logics would fade away if these two functions does not exist inside the service. These need to be inside the service. Let's have a quick look. Clear and pay I'm talking about. So clear is here and pay. Okay, so yes. Okay, we haven't covered this delete item function. I don't think this is going to take long. Okay, so clear function is there, but pay function is not, and the reason is that pay function ultimately needs what, the clear function, and we don't need to pay over here because pay function essentially doesn't do anything. It just calls the clear function. So yes, I am partially correct, and I'm and I am half mad now. So I was kind of right and wrong both at the same time. So you have just completed something. Thank you. Understood. So pay and clear will be inside. Clear data will be inside this main. Now what we are doing? This is literally a short one. In clear, what are we doing? We do this dot items signal. I'm so happy to see such a dedicated audience. It has been at least it has been 1 hour since you have been my audience. So thank you. Coming to code, this dot item signal, and we simply use set the whole array as null. I think this is it. We don't need to do anything else. Inside set, set is a function. Inside that function we declare this. Let's see. Oh, actually I've not been sharing my screen. See this is what I wrote. Now clear is set. Perfect. This is what I exactly wrote. Now the pay function, how will the pay function look? Pay function needs to be inside this ts file. So I'll write pay, and pay function actually first of all does an alert, and it redirects also. The cool thing is it redirects. So alert is fine. Okay, you have paid, and then we can show like how can I how can I how can I write the price inside this? We can use this grand total function, right? You paid you paid like desk got stuck. So you paid like this, and then you leave the space, and then you call the function grand total. Inside this grand total function, you don't need to do anything because this actually returns over here, I suppose. And right, and after you do an alert, you call the this dot card dot clear function. And after you write this function, now the cool part comes. Now you have to do now you have to re-render the page. How do you re-render? Oh, sorry. How do you redirect the page? Do I redirect at the same page, or do I redirect at the pizza page? I'll redirect myself to the menu page, right? So how do I do that? I need to use route. That is for sure, ROUTE, and I write something like this, and inside this route, I'll write. No, I'm just writing the raw thing. I don't know the correct syntax, and I'm not sure whether I have to use route. Actually, but a pleasure to had a slight peek at it. So I knew it is route now. So route, and I'll write the home, not home page, like order page, like this. So I like to do this guesswork because this helps me at least put something on the tray. So, and what, this is root, right? Root dot something like this. Let's check. Now let's fill the gap. Again, I have been not sharing my screen. This is what I actually wrote just now. Now let's look at the pay function. Oh yes, this is a very cool thing. If you have not anything won't work if you have a clear cart already. So the grand total needs to be greater than 0. I'll write now this dot grand total is what you have to write. Okay, understood. This dot clear is all this dot all clear. So I am all I could have written just simply this. Why have I created this function? Okay, so I have called the function all clear. Okay, this is how I have done this. No, dude, I don't think so. Control Z. Understood. So all clear, and then this is what, dude? This is actually this file, right? Now this dot router, not route, this not router dot navigate order pizza page. Like this syntax is right, but not this. So this dot router dot navigate. Understood? And I'll write it over here. This dot router dot navi. This dot router dot navigate and then we write order page, right? And actually no, this needs to be inside there, and this will be inside here. Let's check. Yeah, now we are good. Done. We have now officially completed the entire project. Just this small thing is remaining. This delete button. How do we delete a specific item, not just the quantity, the item inside the cart? Uh, Cart is a signal, and then you have to delete the cart ID, right? Then you send the cart ID, item ID, item ID or cart ID, item dot cart ID. If item dot cart ID is equals to ID, then delete it. Delete is a function. Is delete a function? All on the floor like that. Damn man, we are changing the entire reference. We are actually updating the entire array to the reference. So we use filter. We just leave. So our filter does what? Filter leaves that ID and rest everything remains same, and that's what we are doing. So we are officially done now, and let's go to this screen. Finally, after 4 streams, we are able to complete everything literally. Cover, discuss, talk. Literally everything is done. And now, and it has been 1 hour 40 minutes since I've been streaming. Great. Now I'll come with another stream where I'll be covering interview related questions. Now we have discussed everything inside the project. I can remake this project anytime, anywhere, given that I have data. I won't be writing data myself. So that is it for the stream. Thank you for joining, and I'm truly grateful for all the people who are in future going to watch me, and especially for the ones who have currently joined me and watched me. Thank you so much. Expect more. Expelliarmus.